Hello and welcome back everyone to Last Level Plus. I'm Mr. Black, and this is Chapter 4 of Let's Play Mainland. I've only just recovered, at least slightly so, from the fall after sighting a native longboat in the distance at the cliff. And so, to recap the last page, the captain's cabin. It is dark inside, though the middle of the day. My aching eyes regret I did not light a candle before taking up my quill. I stand leaning against the desk. The captain's letter opener lays on the corner of the desk with a lovely handle having inlaid pearls and gold filigree on either side. My wound aches when I stand. I look around for some way to clean it. By the door stands the wardrobe like a closet in this tiny London home. I have left the bed unkempt. The sun is well past its zenith. The sky appears as if it is late evening, overcast and hazy out across the water. The small wooden nightstand still waits beside the bed. It might hide more useful things. There is a smaller candle on the nightstand, but no matches. There must be more close at hand. Alright then, so a lot to take in. I'll examine the entire room as much as I can. Examine the bed. The captain once slept where I lay my head, its soiled linens with traces of the blood from my rag. Alright, examine the blade. It's only a letter opener. I'm assuming I can't use it as any sort of self-defense weapon. Yet another artifact from a man for letters rather than a sailor. Perhaps there were aspirations all those around him, including myself, were unaware of. The implement is quite heavy, mostly due to the handle. The blade is sharp enough for my task. Alright, hold on. I'll take that. So take the blade. I assume I'll use the blade to clean the wound. I pick up the letter opener. Examine the blade. It is heavy and the blade is dull. Alright, but I do not need it to be sharp. I assume I only need to pry something out of the wound. I wasn't aware of anything in it. Examine the cabin. I have lived weeks in this cabin. I dread the notion it could be my final resting place. Examine the candle. The wick is not lit, and I lack matches, apparently. Examine the desk. A massive carved wooden desk. One expects such a piece in the home of a novelist rather than a skipper. Alright, examine the drawers. The desk contains many drawers, each with an ornate brass handle. None of them contain ink. Of course not. Alright, examine the floor. There is nothing of any interest on the floor. Alright. Examine myself. What have I now? I am wearing pants, jacket, and shoes. I have a blade. Okay, how about the nightstand? It must be ancient, with cracked varnish and bruised legs, as if it was moved around the cabin frequently. I assume from the rocking of a ship it very likely was. I remove the drawer and find a partly filled bottle of ink hiding in the recess. I take it. Excellent. Examine the painting. Is it still as unwanted as ever? The foreboding image of a single-masted vessel weathering a storm not unlike our own. Alright. Examine the table. A massive carved wooden desk. Alright, I've already checked that then. Examine the wardrobe. Wait, did I see an enter there? No, enter was simply the confirm command. Inside the wardrobe I found a small flask of whiskey, very similar to the one I found in the crow's nest. Did I put it here? I do not remember. It is no matter how it found its way here. I take the flask. I'm starting to lose my memory. Alright, the madness is setting in. How about the window? A light rain patters against the glass. Alright. Examine the wound. How is it? I carefully unwrap the handkerchief and examine the flesh laid open and unnatural. The wound does not look to be healing properly, even to the untrained eye. Its jagged outline is inflamed and discolored. I must prevent its condition from deteriorating further. Okay then, so what have I learned from any of my survival experience? Let's see. I suppose I should clean it first, sterilize it with the alcohol. Why do I need a blade, though? That's what I'm wondering about. Let's see. Can I... cauterize. I should use... Have I collected any matches? Hold on. Examine myself. Have I got matches? I'm not sure I recall. I have a blade, bottle of ink, and a flask, so no matches. I assume now is the time I'll need to cauterize something, so... Is there anything else I can open? Open the desk. There's nothing useful. Alright. Open drawers? Nothing useful. Open the nightstand. Drawer is open. Okay. Examine the nightstand. It must be ancient. Alright. So I suppose I've already opened that then. Open the table? No. Open the window. Why would I do that? The window does not open. Moreover, I would not risk the dampness. I don't blame you. Okay. Let's see. Can I... Is there anything to take here? Take the candle, yes. Alright, I take it. I have no matches. So, where might I find any? Is there anything I can light it right now? Light the candle with matches I don't have. Alright. So, examine... Nothing here. Alright. Can I walk to the rest of the ship? Because it's now established the precedent that I'm starting to slip in my recollection of where I'm placing things, and so I wonder if there might now end up matches somewhere in the ship that I simply don't recall. So let's see. Walk to the deck. Yet more rain. It falls in sheets. It would be unwise to go out. Alright, then apparently I can't leave the cabin, so whatever I need is in here. Okay. Examine the bottle of ink. A small glass bottle of ink. There is not very much, but it should carry on my diary long enough. Okay. How about the candle? Is there anything special about it? The wick is not lit. Okay. Examine the flask. It is a small flask, very similar to the one I found after climbing to the top of the mainmast. There is some whiskey left inside. Alright. I wonder, do I need to cauterize the wound? I am not sure. I feel as though I'm likely missing something here. I suppose I'll try to clean the wound, so let's see. Pour whiskey onto the wound, yes. I sit on the bed and unwrap my handkerchief to reveal the awful gash. Flinching, knowing, yet moving forward with my plan, I pour the rest of the sailor's whiskey onto my wound. The flesh screams. I imagine sinners in hell pay in such a fashion. Okay. So, do I rewrap it? Wrap? No. Alright, I've cleaned the wound. Do I cauterize it? Cauterize the wound with glowing red tip? Glowing red tip from what? I once watched the ship's medic perform this on a crewman. The tip of the blade must be made red hot by holding it over a flame. Ah! Alright then, so... I need to heat the blade. Heat tip of the blade with candle. I must light the candle first. So, I need matches, is what I'm extracting from this. So, I can't leave. The matches are in this cabin somewhere. What have I missed? I notice dress is an option. Can I dress the wound? No, apparently not. Alright then. I'm wondering what follow will mean. I wonder if that was one of the redundant options to follow the tracks earlier, or whether or not someone will need following at some point. Alright, let's carry on. I need to find matches, so there's nothing I can search. Is there a satellite candle with something? Alright, I've checked as many things as I can think of to check. Is cut something I needed? No. I was wondering if I needed to cut away anything that's already, like, necrotic. However, it seems no option is available. I am kind of at a loss. Let's see. Examine. I'm sorry, I know certain segments of these episodes are just me attempting to discern what I need to do next, and while I recognize there is a certain amount of almost puzzle solving to certain elements of these text adventures, it's sometimes the system getting in the way of the game itself, if you follow me. It's not necessarily a pleasant aspect. It's a weakness in the format of this kind of setup that leads more to frustration than immersion, and frustration tends to knock one out of immersion. However, I'll stop with the prattling on and continue to attempt to find out what exactly I've missed, because it must be something. Examine nightstand with something. Examine... Wait. I just noticed. Move. Move is an option. I just read the nightstand as if it was moved around the cabin frequently. Is that a hint that something is hidden underneath it? Move the nightstand. I pull the nightstand away from the wall and notice a small copper box wedged into a crevice. I knew it! I have one of these moments in every episode when I feel like a bloody genius. Alright, examine. I was at that for an embarrassingly long time. Let's see. Examine the... can't find anything, so I suppose I'll just take the matches. Alright then, I pick up the box. Apparently I just know, intuitively, in my instincts, that the copper box is full of matches, because you definitely fill copper boxes with matches, right? Alright, whatever. I'm not gonna question it. Just, well, now that I have it, examine the matches? Yes, there we are. Examine. A nearly full box of phosphorus matches. Alright. That was something of an ordeal unto itself. So now, light the candle with matches. I light the candle. Now, cauterize wound with glowing red tip. I once watched the ship's medic perform this on a crewman. I know, I've already read that. So, heat tip of the blade with candle. I steady the tip of the blade over the flame until it turns red. Now cauterize the wound with the glowing red tip. That's gonna sting. I let out a long sigh as I stared down at my woeful leg. My teeth clenched onto the sleeve of my jacket. I ready myself for a flood of tears, the shock of the alcohol lingering on as a preamble. You could have drank some and not wasted all of it on the leg, because, you know, that was medieval anesthetic. Whiskey. I force the glowing red tip into the wound. I must hold steady. My body seizes and my eyes close. You very well might black out. When they open, they find the letter opener lying on the floor, its blade surrounded by a charred outline burned into the planks. The ordeal is over. I must record my thoughts. Oh, okay. How's the wound now? Examine... I can't. Alright, examine myself. Am I alright? I know that only ever, takes account of my inventory. I'm still just kind of... I want to check myself so I don't wreck myself. Alright. Examine... the desk, since apparently I feel the need to write. No. Alright. Is... writing? No. Record. Remove. Rinse. The ordeal over, I must record my thoughts. Alright. What do I do now? Let's see. What exactly do you want from me now, game? I'm not entirely certain. Examine the bed, perhaps? No, all of this is what I've already seen. I remember now. Sit at the desk. And there we are. September 13th, 1846. When did my father set his mind on his research? I believe he developed an interest while visiting a copra plantation some years before closing his practice. Only once did he tell me of the natives bound and forced to labor while he and the landowners dined. The laws of God and men have often been corrupted in our time of prosperity. What I dwell upon is my father's conviction to return, such that nothing could stop him but a failing heart. He dutifully prepared for years, no less than I for my solicitorship. I did not interfere in his affairs until I learned of his plan to build a ship. God knows how much more vehemently I would have protested had I known our fate. He died shortly after her completion. I admit at the time, and in mourning, I did not consider taking on his work. The seed was planted, I suppose, but it took time to germinate. It is a weed, very hardy and impossible to remove once its roots have set. And Lisa, a 2-month voyage across an ocean, fell from her lips in such romantic syllables. I was an Englishman unmoved, tales of typhoons, desert islands, and so many unspoken details. I considered myself a Londoner by rights and could scarcely imagine anything outside the city, but to hear her speak made me wish myself in those scenes and in her mind. September 15th, 1846. My situation worsens by the day. The right leg is lame. The wound did not heal properly, and my willpower has certainly been diminished on account of it. It is impossible to explore the island until the rain ceases, leaving me confined to search for unconfessed sins while the captain sleeps below deck. This erratic mind in me is encouraging at times. Perhaps I am so very near colonists at the plantation where good fellows might send word to London. I launched the dinghy in such dreams, rowing the short distance to redemption. Might I get that vessel in the water? Alright. The ship's deck. I stand aware that I may have little time before the heavens transform noon to a midnight wet and miserable. The sails are quiet and still, no longer pantomiming our voyage home. The dinghy is lashed to runners beneath it. Its canvas cover was bright white at our departure, now spotted with filth. Alright, this is what it's been foreshadowing for some time now. So, examine the boat. I have no crew, but my wits are still about me. Perhaps after I untie the ropes, I can leverage one end out toward the middle of the deck. The water beyond the starboard is shallow, yet portside is a treachery of rocks and waves. Alright, examine the canvas cover. Heavy canvas with eyelets pulled down around the edge of the dinghy. Examine the deck. The dinghy sits near the mizzenmast. Alright, I knew that already. Examine the dinghy itself. I have no crew, but my wits are still about me. Alright then, examine the mainmast. The memory of looking down from the top haunts me. Well-established vertigo, I'd wager. Alright. What have I now? I'm wearing pants, jacket, and shoes, and I have matches. I like to travel light, apparently. Examine the sail. The Mayflower will never see London again. Will I see my dear Lisa? I'm not sure, man. I am honestly not sure. Let's see. So, I need to unlash the dinghy, I think. Canvas cover. So, let's see. I should unbind the tie-downs or lashing. I'll try the lashing. The lashing is tied into an incredible knot. Trying to loosen it seems to tighten it more and more. It's one of those. It's a sailor's knot. Alright then, so I should unbind the tie-downs then. I untie the simple knots holding taut the canvas cover. Inside are supply crates, a cache I do not recognize. I stand for a moment looking them over. Alright, what exactly is in there? Examine the crates. Massive wooden crates. One is broken and its contents are visible. Lumps of coal, but this is no steamship. Alright, I assume that's for some other auxiliary purpose. I honestly can't come up with a practical reason for it. However, I'll take it all the same if I can't take the crates. No, not their contents, the crates themselves. Just lash them to my back. The crates are too heavy. I must leave them on the deck. Alright then. Can I light the... Can I, like, set the dinghy on fire? I don't know. Light the crates with matches. I am not going to light a fire here. Alright, I kind of thought it was a crazy idea. I'm assuming it won't let me accomplish things that are detrimental to my ends. I'm assuming this and hoping it keeps me from anything terribly maddening. Alright, so... let's see. Now that... oh wait, unload the crates. Begins to rain. Staggering, I tumbled them onto the deck one by one. Aha! Open... Oh, I can't open the crates. Can I take something now? Take crates? No. Alright. Why did I do that then? Can I unload them a little more? Unload? The crates are out. Alright. So... untie the lashing. The lashing is tied into an incredible knot. So, I might need to cut that then. Or burn it. I could light a torch and just burn the knot. I'm not sure that's exactly the most expeditious way to do so, or the most efficient, however. Whatever I need to do. Let's see. Have I missed anything else? No, apparently not. I'm not sure what to do. Again, unfortunately. Let's see. Can I search? No, I can't search anything. Can I sit on the deck? No. How about climb into the dinghy? I should put the boat in the water before climbing in. Alright. Let's see. Chop? I don't have anything to chop with. Wait! The cleaver! In the galley! I remember it now. Never mind. Don't chop. Walk. Walk to... No, I don't want to walk to the coast. No, not the cabin. The hold. Down in the cargo hold. Unnerved, I stand in the dim light from the portholes. I open the portholes. The place is a tomb. A long corridor leads to the sick bay. The stench of death in that direction is unbearable. The air in the hold is heavy and damp, with specks of dust that fill my lungs and start me coughing. A massive wooden door opens onto the galley. I only need to enter the galley. I want nothing to do with the horrid, festering thing that is now the sickbay. Alright then, walk to the galley. The space has been left just as it was. Long wooden tables stretching the length of the room. A mountain of dishes remains piled against the wall. The last service finished prematurely. There is a meat cleaver hanging on the wall. Exactly what I want. Take the cleaver. I take the meat cleaver. Excellent. Alright. Leave. And now, climb up to the deck. Excellent. Now, chop. The lashing with the cleaver. The cleaver is effective. Alright. So, now can I... Is lower a thing? No. Alright, then climb to the dinghy. I should put the boat in the water. Alright, how do I do that, actually? I'm honestly not sure. Like, I am not well educated enough in the mechanical workings of a ship's deck to know exactly what I might need to do. Alright, let's see. Examine the boats. Will it tell me something? I must move the smaller dinghy into the sea. I have no crew, but my wits are still about me. The water beyond the starboard side is shallow, yet port side is a treachery of rocks and waves. Alright, I knew that already, so... Let's see... Do I need to move the dinghy? Yes! My waterlogged boots slide on the deck as I try to dislodge the boat from its frame. I would do better without them. Alright then. Remove my shoes. And now, move the dinghy. The silence aboard the Mayflower is shattered by a clap of thunder. I raise my eyes to meet a torrent of water. The rain soaks me to the bone as I bear down with all my strength and manage to shift the dinghy off the skids and onto the deck. I cannot give up now. Steadily, in small advances, I push her closer to the gunwale. Go to the cabin. Why did I do that? I thought I was supposed to shove it into the water. I guess I'll try that tomorrow? September 18th, 1846. Overnight I must have had a chill, for I awoke with a fever and my head feels as though it will split into 1,000 throbbing pieces. I am forcing myself to write in spite of the anguished state I am in, and at the same time forcing myself to believe the end of this document will prove my return home. My imagination humors me, conjuring up visions that I am captain, proudly standing at the stern with sails set atop the reef. Lisa, where do I find myself? My mind was elsewhere all along. Father's death was a heavy burden to bear, yet never would I have imagined to be here, to risk the lives of so many who died at the edge of the world. His decision to make this journey must have been a sign of insanity. Perhaps my inheritance, along with the Mayflower and so many unpaid debts. You were the voice of reason who for so long advised me not to bother with my father's business deals. But after his death, your perception changed. All at once you claimed to see discontent growing in my heart. When you came to say goodbye, I was filled with emptiness at the idea you were to be missing from my days. In dreams I visit you, dearest Lisa, your face so long hidden I must grasp at its memory. The ship's deck. I stand on the main deck of the ship, flooded with sunlight. The Mayflower sits in port, being prepared for her maiden voyage. Anticipation gnaws at me, the fantastic and altogether unreal prospect of 2 months at sea in the Pacific on the horizon. I look out at the pier, where the well-wishers must have assembled. A woman stands off to the side, as if unsure of her place in a crowd of commoners. She looks about and seems not to recognize me. I must draw her attention. I'm assuming this is a flashback sequence. Alright then. Examine Lisa. My beloved wears a light green muslin dress, usually reserved for going on holiday, along with a cashmere shawl that hangs from her shoulders. She nervously moves her hand about her waist, and with her other steadies a parasol over her head. No, that is an umbrella, yet the sky is perfectly clear. Examine myself. What am I wearing? Dressed to receive Her Majesty. Just a bit ragged, perhaps. Alright, examine the deck. Before me are so many well-wishers shouting and waving, come to see the Mayflower off. It could be a parade more than seeing off with a humble expedition. Alright. Let's see. Examine the dock. There are so many people, commoners and wealthy alike. The families of sailors come to grace us with earnest farewells and wave until the Mayflower has disappeared. My dear Lisa dislikes crowds, and when I see her face emerge, I am honored far more than at any other moment in my brief history. Alright, how about the ship itself? The Mayflower shines in the sunlight. A month ago, she sat in the shipyard where Father and I praised her fitness. And the sky. The sky is clear and bright. Alright, I'll wave at Lisa. I wave, and she replies with an extraordinary smile. The breeze tussles her hair, and my eyes stay fixed, unflinching. They would forever. So, what now? Do I walk over to her? Walk to the dock. There is no time to disembark. The journey will soon commence. Alright then. What do I do then? Do I shout to her? Do I call something to her? Let's see. Sit on the deck? I would spend every second standing on my toes to see dear Lisa. Alright, stand then. I'm standing on my feet already. Alright. What do I do now? Do I examine her again now that I've waved? Examine her with something? No. Examine Lisa. With her gentle brow suddenly furrowed, she signals me to turn and face the other direction. Alright. Why? Look at the deck? Before me are so many well-wishers shouting and waving. Alright, no, not that. Look at the dock. No. Look at the ship. No. What are you pointing at? The sky. I am not sure. Alright. Examine Lisa again. No. I'm confused. Lisa, what are you trying to tell me? Turn is an option. I am unobservant. I turn around, and facing me is a bank of clouds, black as pitch, moving rapidly toward the ship, carried on a fierce wind ahead of the setting sun. Violent flashes of lightning break loose from within. Alright, I'm assuming a nightmare. September 21st, 1846. There is tragic irony in the thought that I could die from a cold after such afflictions as I have endured. The wound on my leg will not heal until I am well. I can hardly control the pen as my eyes drift and fall. I fear the end will come after every breath, every heartbeat that grasps the last. September 22nd, 1846. I have grown calm. As though I have no reason to worry, my mind has carried this delusion to its irrational end, such that I begin to live in a state of ignorance of my situation. Is this entire voyage contrived by my own mind? I cannot compare it to anything, sure. Dear Lisa, show me your face that I may climb from the wreckage toward it. The ink will soon run dry, perhaps not before my memory. September 23rd, 1846. I carry on. So many lives in this ship's wake. I must do something. I must regain my footing to stand up and fight against the odds. I was thinking the same thing. The captain's cabin. I stretch my aching body at the length of the bed. My forehead clenches tightly as if squeezed in a vice. The beat of my heart echoes through each temple, and I cannot sleep. If I could but make my struggles easier and fall into a deep emptiness, a colorless void. I choke and start, a heavy cough rending my lungs. Sitting up, I feel as though I must remember something before I leave. The rain continues, but I must try to stand to my feet. Alright, I'm wondering why, after all the efforts to dislodge the dinghy, didn't I climb in and sail away? Or did I make a mistake in returning to the cabin, as it was one of the few times a prompt appears at default, and not continue shoving with text commands? I'm honestly wondering whether I may have made a mistake in that, and that are there multiple endings to this? I'm honestly not sure. I'll continue on either way, though. Let's see. Stand. I struggle to my feet, and my eyes adjust, grasping at consciousness such that I must lean my hand against the wall. The air feels slow entering my lungs. I should go outside and breathe the salt air to liven me. The cabin has become so oppressive. I stand in the center of the room. There are sheets of paper scattered around the room. Outside of the window, the storm rages on. Heavy raindrops pelt the glass like birdshot. The captain's brass telescope lays on the desk. Alright, I'll take that. Take the spyglass. Take a sheet, because I noticed that's an option. I retrieve a sheet and begin to read. September 4th, 1846. The sea has rested for several days now, while the sea within me rages. The storm in my heart roars at the idea I alone survived this catastrophe. It is difficult to retread my thoughts from the beginning. I let the page slip from my fingers, and it quietly drifts to the floor. Alright then. So, I'll examine the remainder of the room. Examine the bed. The bed where I sleep, and where the captain died. I do not want to die here. How about the remainder of the cabin? How I have grown so complacent in this oppressive atmosphere of carved panels with that lurid painting still hanging over me. And what of the odds in favor of me, having yet joined the crew in their slumber? Desk? There is nothing interesting on the desk. I'm noticing a certain sense of strength emerging in the diction of the narrator now. The floor, strewn with scrawled pages like those of a novelist who took offense at his own creation before he departed this earth. As I assume you have. Examine myself. I have no desire to look at myself. The rain. How many days has it rained now? I've lost count. Spyglass. Spyglass, possibly his most valuable possession. The window. How many days has it rained? I am not certain, however, it is certainly many. How is the wound doing? I tighten the bandage around my leg. The wound aches to the bone, and the smell is nauseating. If that's an indication of no small infection, not a good sign. Alright then. I'll walk to the deck. I stand on deck. The wind and rain batter me and my legs, struggle to keep me all right. Barely discernible through the curtains of water, the dinghy has been filled to the brim. The hook is still attached to the bulwark, the rope hanging over the side to the rocky shore. Alright, examine the boat. The weight of the water inside is immense. Can I not just rock it over? Examine the deck. The rain is so strong. I know that this ship is not moving, yet I stagger at every step as if it pitches on the sea in a terrible storm. You're losing your balance. That is not good. Examine the dinghy. The weight of the water inside is immense. Alright. The rain. The downpour looks as though it will not cease anytime soon. Examine the rope with a hook. I check that the rope has not loosened and the crossbar is firm. Alright, the ship. The Mayflower weathers the storm undisturbed. How's about the rest of these? I've already done those, so let's see. I think I'm at a relatively decent stopping point. I think I'm treading close to the conclusion of this narrative, and so I'll call this episode here and resume in the next, when I think something significant is to happen. So stick around for that here at Last of Press. I'm Mr. Black, and as always, I wish you all good gaming and Godspeed.